like to. So welcome to our second group session for the Sacred Stillness journey. I am grateful to have you here with me, and we're going to start with a little bit of grounding. So if everyone wants to just settle back into their seat, close their eyes, and take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Again, another deep breath in and sigh it out. One more time, deep breath in and sigh it out. And I'm going to invite you to just take these next few moments to bring your awareness fully into the present moment, to recognize that whatever you had going on prior to joining this call, whatever you have going on after this call does not exist in this moment. For this moment in time, we are coming together in community and union with one another with the intention and purpose of being present for our session. Very good. Just feel yourself dropping into that awareness. Gifting yourself this time for community, continued growth and expansion, diving a little deeper into tools to help you continue forward with our 3-week healing journey. Now, integrate our time together, bring our hands to our hearts. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, evening, wherever you're coming from. And we will begin. So it is. All right. Well, welcome to our second session. So I'd love to have you open up your mic so we can have a little bit of community discussion about how our week went. All right. So first of all, how are we doing? How are we feeling today?
I'm a little flustered. This whole week, the whole week, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And so I'm putting out fires left and right. And my confession is I didn't get to do the daily journaling or daily meditation and the journaling. So I need to catch up really quick, and I'm still a day behind.
Okay,
Sorry.
well we'll talk about that in a moment, but I would gift you this piece of information. It's okay. This is why we're doing this, is so that you have a guide to help you kind of work through the kinks and find solutions. So that's the other thing that we'll talk about. But Marcia, this is where I would say I would have dropped into the community and said, hey, I'm struggling. And then I would have been able to give you guidance.
I didn't even have time. I'm telling you, I've got fires all over the place. I've just been running here and running there.
Yeah. It's okay. Again, what we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, because our focus for this week's session is routine and overcoming distractions. So thank you for bringing forward that you had some distractions. How are you, Lynn? I've loved reading your responses. It sounds like you're really dropping into your intention that you set before joining our course.
Yes, I am, and it feels very good. I had a wild day yesterday and didn't get to do my meditation till like 8 o'clock at night.
Just taking a laptop down.
So I learned last night. Make sure it's during the daytime.
Oh, okay. There you go. So what happened last night? You broke up for a second.
Oh, okay. I did very well with the rest of the meditations except yesterday's in doing them during the time. But I didn't get a chance to do it till like 8 o'clock at night, and I was just fried.
Mm,
The quality of my meditation was not so great. So
okay.
I just learned a lesson from that. I really can't. I have to do them during the day. So
Okay, yeah, wonderful. Well, that's good. That's good that you. So again, these are really great things to share when we're coming together, because even if someone else isn't sharing it, maybe they're going to benefit from the experience that you're having. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm glad that you got some awareness around that, and now you can set some different intentions moving forward for this next week to commit to that time that you know is better for you.
right.
There's somebody in the chat. Sorry to interrupt. There's someone in the participant in the room who's trying to get in.
Hang on one second. I have everyone in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It said 4 people. I only see 3 of us, so okay.
Well, Meredith has joined. Her camera is not on, and
Oh, okay.
Meredith, if you're there and you would like to hop in and chat with us, we'd love to chat with you. How is your week going?
Good. My camera is not working.
That's okay.
I don't know why. Yeah, it's good though. Like everyone, I don't know. Like I've been exercising more and teaching again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for that. Yeah. I just I I guess I might have well, I have a full-time job. I might have another year, like another contract. So
Okay.
I'm grateful.
Good. Yeah. How was your experience with the meditations this past week?
Oh, really good. I watched later and it was really helpful and just like yeah, it just like clears my mind, helps my like intelligence and yeah, like because like having a baby, it kind of takes away your intelligence in a way. Just because you're yeah, like it's almost like a more
Yeah.
primitive state.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like slowly coming back and then like over Christmas and like just I don't know, that kind of like helped maybe like seeing family and like
Yeah.
I started but like to put my like ego into perspective too
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
like when you like have I feel like the pregnancy process is almost like a not necessarily like you're losing your ego, but you kind of are in a way. So it's almost like a change in identity and my baby's being kind of crazy right now.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So, but thank you for joining us tonight. I know you weren't able to join us last Wednesday, and I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying the process that we're going through together. So I'd like to. So now we can take our microphones down, and then we'll just pop them on as we need them, just so that we have clear opportunity to hear everything that's coming through. So Marcia shared that she was having a little bit of difficulty getting to the 10 minutes of me time. So Marcia, I would invite you to because I know that you have another practice in play every morning. So I'm curious if you could maybe consider doing the 10 minutes right before you start that to help you get centered and grounded. And then because it sounds like the day got away from you and then all of a sudden there was no space for it. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah. So when we find ourselves going, I don't have time for 10 minutes, this is our opportunity to step back and go, is that really true? Is there a way that I could look at my schedule from a different vantage point and evaluate where I could put it? So only because I know your schedule, that's the only reason I'm using this as an example, my friend. So
that's fine.
yeah. But what do you think about that concept that I've just shared with you, though?
And I have tried to do that. There are some days that still doesn't work.
Yeah.
I wake up late, because I roll out of bed, and when I do my other event, I have pajamas.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
So, and then I've got the animals to feed. And then my husband's up and it's all crazy and I don't have a lot of time. So then I think, oh, I'm going to do it late at night.
Right.
And my husband becomes a night owl. So
yeah.
So
my suggestion for you is this, and this is for anybody who might be struggling with making the space. So if everyone didn't hear it, Marcia said that she lost a few days and then made them all up today.
Well, one day I didn't make up because
yeah. That's okay.
I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what day it is. I have two calendars going. They all have the same thing on.
Yeah.
And then I've already missed 2 appointments.
Yeah. So then that says to me, so there's another piece of the equation then that I'm going to share with you, is that it's our grounding. Like, how are we grounding ourselves for the day? And so I understand that you roll out of bed and go and run into the things, but if you planned ahead and said, I'm going to get up at say 8:15, so I have that extra 10 minutes before I have to roll into the next thing, that's my invitation for you to maybe look at your schedule for the next several days, or look at the schedule for the next day. Like, before you go to bed, maybe you pull up your schedule and go, where do I have a pocket of time that I'm going to dedicate to this practice, and see if that helps you at all. So that would be a suggestion that I would make. But as Lynn said, with her experience, she found that taking herself out of the pocket of time that works didn't work for her. So she learned something for herself. So again, it's consistency is whatever we decide it is. For some people, it's the same time every single day. For other people, it's, like, I have a revolving schedule. It's always changing. So sometimes I meditate at 8 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I meditate at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But I always look at my schedule and say, where is the pocket of time that I'm dedicating to my practice? So do we have any thoughts on that anybody would like to respond to? Since that was our conversation last week, we're just kind of reviewing last week's conversation. No. Okay. Well, I hope maybe I've given you some ideas to think about, and maybe reset your intentions for this week then, Marcia. Okay. If anybody else has any thoughts also, we're a community, so we'd love to hear anything that you have to share. Okay. Well, then we're going to move on to our topics of education for this week. So our focus for this week's session is the importance of routine and overcoming distractions. Give me one moment. I got to grab my glasses. I realized I didn't pull them out of my bag. And reading my notes will be very difficult without my readers.
Here's another distraction.
Okay. So the importance of consistency. Consistency builds momentum. So the one of the reasons that it's important to have consistency is that with a regular intentional movement forward, regular practice creates a momentum that deepens your experience over time, enhancing the benefits of the meditation. So doing them every day, what it does is it helps you drop in deeper and deeper and deeper. So Stella posted the other day that she almost fell asleep in one of the meditations. and I responded back to her and I said, I suggest that you sit up then so that you can stay very present with it. And I think she responded back something with a little bit of banter back and forth. But she's becoming even more, she's gaining the benefits of the deeper relaxation by having the consistency of every day showing up to the practice. So the intentions that we are seeking through this practice are numerous, right? And one of them is to have a more relaxed mind, so we're able to take the chaos and bring it down into a place where we can actually navigate it. So Marcia, I can see you making a face. So my suggestions in helping you understand the importance of the consistency is that it is the daily touchback, the daily continuous touchback that is the key to helping you gain that benefit. So right now, my daily meditation practice is a very specific one, and it is a manifesting meditation. And I will tell you that as I do it, I feel more ease in my journey of what I'm manifesting. I am not necessarily feeling like I have to control the journey with it. Instead, I'm able to just trust in the universe to provide for me. And it also makes my mind more receptive to my intuition that's coming in. But when I'm busy and I have too many things to do and I'm running around and I'm not making the space, then I can't hear it as easily. So for me, one of the greatest benefits of meditation is to be able to be more connected to my intuition. So yes, Marcia?
And my face was, I 100% agree with you. I was saying to myself, I gotta find that space, because all the hundreds of fires I was putting out, the more anxious I was becoming.
Yes,
and I was
exactly.
Thinking, I need some grounding because this is chaotic. So
right,
yes,
right,
I
right.
agree.
Yeah,
I need that.
Good. So the next benefit here that we're going to talk about in our routine and the importance of the routine is the neuroplasticity of brain health. So what does that mean? Consistent meditation rewires the brain, fostering neuroplasticity, which improves focus, emotional regulation, and overall cognitive function. So is there anyone here that can resonate with this experience just in the first week?
I will say that your voice is so calming. And so when I listen, it calms me down. No matter what fire is going on around me, it does calm me down. So thank you, Ramona.
So that emotional regulation, that's what you're talking about, is it brings your emotions down into a more even place. Yeah. Lynn, do you have anything you'd like to share about that? I look like you might be trying to come on.
Yeah, I finally got my mute to unmute. So yeah, I've felt a little bit more cognitively savvy, having contemplated different scenarios.
Wonderful. Yeah.
During the week. So rather than my usual routine. So
yeah, great. Yeah, so that was the other question I wanted to ask, since you brought that up. How did we feel about having a different meditation every day?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So
I hadn't heard of ahimsa, so I learned something there. And and I felt that the other ones took us on a little journey that made it okay to be gone from the everyday for a while. And so I didn't have any trouble with it. The mind didn't have any trouble with it. I get a little fidgety sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it had to do with the meditations. I think it's me settling down. I don't know if you have any kinds of recommendations for that.
So my recommendation would be go back to the breathing exercise, do that first, and then do the meditation.
Okay.
If you feel like you have the space for 20 minutes, that's the suggestion that I would always make, which is why it's the first meditation of the program, because breathing really drops us down and And if you notice, every one of the meditations I start with, let's take a deep breath in, let's bring ourselves into the moment. That's the intention is, and it's shorter because I want to get to that visualization for you. So if you want to have a longer centering time, I would go to that breathing meditation to start.
Okay.
Yeah,
That sounds
awesome.
good.
Great question. Thank you.
And I loved all the different meditations that you had because I could see and visualize each one. I loved it.
Great.
It was
Awesome.
like you took us on a journey and I loved it. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. So our next point here is the importance of routine is stress reduction and resilience. So regular meditation cultivates resilience against stress, promotes a calmer response to life's challenges, and reduces overall stress levels. So when we drop into statements of I don't have the time, or I have this going on, or that going on, it is our ego going, I don't want you to have stress relief. I don't want you to have the ability to moderate your emotional state. I want things to be chaotic, because the ego mind wants us to keep things normal for them because it's easier, right? And the soul says, but you deserve peace. You deserve to be able to experience things from a place of having an even keel in your emotions. And so when we begin to change things, the ego will do everything it can to keep you from going to your meditation. So that is where having structure, having the ability to say, okay, this is the time I'm going to do this every day, is so important. Or again, if you can't commit to the same time every day, commit to scheduling yourself either a few days ahead of time, or the week, or even the night before. I really can't encourage that enough. Emotional well-being is our next point of benefit from consistent practice. Establishing a routine helps regulate emotions, promotes a sense of inner peace and contentment, and emotional balance. So I will tell you that in the times in my life where I wasn't meditating and things were heavy and hard or chaotic or what have you, I would lean into my vices instead. So the things that soothe me, that soothe my ego, that make my ego go, oh, thank you. I just needed that temporary gratification. And so by having a regular meditation practice, I'm able to more intentionally navigate whatever is happening in my life. So that is the invitation here, is to decide, is it more important to give the ego charge and I continue some of these behaviors that are causing even more emotional disturbance? Because then if I go into my vice, then I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Like I have all these thoughts about the negative impact of the experience, versus when I just give myself the 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of meditation, I'm able to make decisions that are based on my truth. And my emotions are more easily processed through. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share on that particular subject?
I love that statement because actually I've had to make today especially a lot of decisions based on all these fires, and this is all coming from outside, all these outside fires I'm putting out, and I had to make a lot of decisions, and they were also based upon my decisions I was making was based upon all that stress, all that tension. And I have to make another decision tonight that includes a lot of people that I need to be calm for
Mm-hmm.
and not let my emotions
Mm-hmm.
take charge.
Mm-hmm.
So I plan on doing my number 7 because I didn't get to that one after we're done here because
Okay.
I'm gonna need that.
Yeah, that's great.
Just to
That's great.
ground me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I just love that make decisions based upon my truth, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to say some things, but I need to say them calmly.
Mm-hmm. And so
So,
if you're able to regulate your system,
Mhm.
you'll be able to have access to that intention. Yeah.
yes, I
Beautiful.
love that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, Lynn.
Yeah, I was also getting a little bit of insight there when you were saying how maybe the ego finds ways to treat itself to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, yeah,
Probably,
yeah. That's all I need.
probably true.
Yeah, but again, this is why these sessions are really important whenever you choose to participate in a group program, because then we can talk through these things and we don't feel we're alone in it. So I'm sure each of you are sharing things that is like, oh yeah, I see that, or oh yeah, thank you for that insight. And that's the glory of this kind of programming, for us to be able to say, I see you, I hear you, I honor you, and thank you because you're affirming something for me, or you're sharing something that helps. So thank you. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so the next one we have here is spiritual growth and awareness. Consistent practice fosters spiritual growth, deepens self-awareness, and connecting to your greater sense of purpose of spirituality. So again, as I shared before, meditation for me is a huge piece of how I connect to my spiritual journey. It is how my intuition is more easily understood and heard. My heart space is open, which is where we're actually getting all of our messages, is from our seat to our soul, our heart space. And so when I feel safer in my body, when I feel more clear, then I can be like, oh, there's that inspiration, take action on that, because that's what spirit or higher self, or however we see the divine is speaking to me. Yeah. Improved health and immunity. Did you know that? Did you know that regular meditation helps with improved health and immunity? So regular meditation is shown to positively impact physical health, boosting the immune system, and contributing to overall well-being. So if we can recognize that meditation is an energy work technique, because we're breathing and we're centering our attention in a very specific, like we talked last week, meditation is about focusing your mind to a very specific point. So if you're doing these visualizations and you're imagining yourself riding with, going with the flow, or walking in the red rocks. I had somebody respond that they really felt like they were there in the red rocks, like feeling their feet on the earth and connecting to that experience. Like, I'm in Las Vegas right now, and that's where that inspiration came from, as I went to the Valley of Fire. And the Valley of Fire is literally this rock formation out in the middle of the desert that is all these beautiful red rocks. And it was so like, wow, that's amazing. And then we went up to Bryce Canyon last year, or year and a half ago. And again, that red, just magnificent. No, thanks, Meredith. That magnificence, those are the inspirations that these meditations came from, was my experiences with them. And so I'm glad to hear that it's been transferred through word, right? Yes.
I don't get out of East Syracuse. So when I listened to that one, in my mind, I could feel my bare feet on dusty red rock. and it was
Mhm.
dusty to me. I've never been there, but
That's
it
funny.
did bring, yeah, it
Yeah.
did bring an emotion out that I felt
Mhm.
that. So,
Mhm. Wow. Awesome. But so that physical health and well-being is so important. And
Yeah.
it helps to rewire our bodies. Yes, Meredith.
Yeah, I have to think in terms of like spiritual progression.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I forget,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I guess that's because like I'm like in a relationship, like living with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, and sometimes some of my conscience actually went away because I hadn't lived with like a guy for a while.
Mm.
And so I was just like, yeah, like it's like a different quality almost like, and I just like, yeah, so I'm just trying to like, I don't know, it's almost like my alone time is like
Mm.
more where I'm able to like practice and be aware
Yeah.
and like, but when I'm alone, it's like I'm like constantly aware of like the spiritual nature, like
Mm.
of being. Like I'm like, I don't know. So I feel like I just have to pay more attention, and breathing really helps,
Mm.
I think, connect us in a spiritual way, even if we're not being spiritual. Like it's like our
Mm. Mm-hmm.
conscience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's prana, it's energy, right? So we're bringing in a higher, we're bringing in more energy into the body, which then is going to um, oxygenate the brain, which allows the brain to work more clearly, and then open up the cells in our body to have more oxygen. Because as a society, especially in the United States, we breathe in our upper chest, which is 25% of our breath capacity.
Mhm.
We have
Oh,
more breath capacity down in above the diaphragm. So the
hmm.
deeper that we breathe, the more breath that we take down into our abdomen, the more prana and energy we are consuming, which is part of why it helps boost our immunity system and our overall well-being.
Wow. That's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Wow.
So our
Yeah, it's
next,
like the breath is spirituality,
oh yeah,
even
breath
when
is
we're
life.
not aware.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Wow. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Seriously.
So our next benefit of consistent practice is enhanced self-discipline and mindfulness. So establishing a routine builds self-discipline and mindfulness, leading to a greater self-awareness and conscious living beyond the meditation session. So I'm able to make better choices with what I'm going to eat for the day when I meditate in the morning than if I don't. That's one of my issues, is that if I'm too busy and my mind is too busy, then I'm like, oh, I just got to grab this and go, instead of I'm going to have this beautiful salad that has all this color in it that is nourishment and joy and love, versus I'm going to grab that bar that's literally colorless. Because color is so important to our health and well-being as well. So, and not that our bar is bad, it's just that it doesn't need to be my everyday go-to meal. It's better that I have more intention about what I'm ingesting. So having that awareness allows me to be more intentional and mindful, and that's just my experience. There's other parts of my life where the mindfulness comes into play that also help. Integration into daily life. When meditation becomes a habit, the benefits extend into daily life, influencing decision making, relationships, and overall lifestyle choices positively. So I had an experience recently where I was communicating with someone that had a difficult situation that they had to work through, and so we were talking about ways that they could enter those conversations more calmly. And so I suggested doing some deep breathing before going into the conversation, journaling so that they had awareness of what it is they really wanted to say, and showing up on purpose instead of kind of running in with their hair on fire. Can anyone resonate with that concept? So Marcia, you just said it. I have this situation. I want to have this conversation. I'd like to be calmer. So here, right here, meditation helps you to integrate into your daily life with more intention. Yeah. And then the last one is regular practice is a journey of self-discovery and personal growth, offering numerous physical, emotional, and spiritual benefits that enrich your life. So Meredith speaks directly to what you were sharing. The more that we give ourselves the space for these practices, the more open we are to our spiritual path. So that is our little discussion on the importance of routine and overcoming distractions. So, well, I'm sorry, that's actually understanding the importance of routine. The next part here is overcoming the ego and distractions.
Yeah. Whoa, that's awesome, because that's what I was thinking about, like putting my ego, like the ego,
Yeah.
into perspective.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that right now. So overcoming ego and distractions. So when Marcia came in, she came in going, I had all these things, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, that's your ego got really in charge of your week. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the whole point of our experience here, is to observe the things that are happening from a place of how can I take what I'm experiencing and learn from it. And so that is the first thing I would say to you about distractions and struggles that you might be having with your ego through this process, is don't abuse yourself over them. Be gentle with yourself, and instead step back and open up the scope of curiosity. Okay, what's going on here that is causing this you know, the ego to take over? What is it that I need to give attention to that I can fine tune? And so again, this is where, as I was saying, if we can jump into the community and say, hey, so I'm having this struggle, then that gives me an opportunity to give you suggestions. It was just like, as I said before, Stella came in and said, I almost fell asleep. And so I gave it an immediate, suggestion to help shift it. And even if you aren't able to get into the group, you can always message me directly and I can respond that way as well. So let's talk about some ways that, oh, I'm gonna mute that. Let's talk about a few ways that we can work with the ego through this process. So awareness of the ego's role. Recognize that your ego often manifests as a distraction, thought, or resistance during meditation. Acknowledging its presence is the first step to overcoming it. So what does that mean? That means if I'm in meditation and I'm being guided to focus on my breathing, and then I start thinking about the grocery list, that's my ego. That's the ego. And so our opportunity is to go, I understand that's not the time for this. I'll get back to that whenever I'm done, and come back to the breath. So we talked about that last week, about if you get moved away, to come back and just keep coming back and keep coming back. And the more that you do that, the easier it's going to be to drop into really remaining focused on the focal point of the meditation. Can anyone here say that they have experienced the ego trying to take them away from the meditation this last week? Yeah.
I had a cat who was screaming to eat. So I'm in my meditation and I ended up throwing a pillow at him just so I could focus
Right.
and make him run.
Yeah.
But not so much my ego, but it's a lot of outside
Well,
things.
right. So that was your ego, because you felt like you had to take the pillow and toss it at the cat, instead of saying, okay, the cat is there, he'll wait, I'm going to stay here for now.
You don't know my Frankie.
I hear you.
But normally,
again, yeah.
normally I go to another room and close the door. I sometimes will go down the basement where the cats don't know where I'm at,
Right.
and
Right.
which is what I should have done.
Okay, well then you learned the lesson. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lynn, you look like you had something to say. Oh, your mic's not on. Hang on. There, that might help.
Thank you. For some
Yeah.
reason, my touch screen is real touchy, and it's
Yeah.
hard to get the unmute. No, I just think the times that I was a little fidgety was my ego.
Yeah.
Trying to
100%.
join in.
Yeah, so that's your opportunity to be like, okay, it's okay that I'm a little fidgety, but I'm still going to stay here. I'm going to bring myself back, which it sounds like you did. You acknowledged it and then brought yourself back. So thank you for sharing that experience. So the next one here is non-judgmental observation. Practice observing distracting thoughts or ego-driven impulses without judgment. Let them arise and pass without attachment or reaction. So what is attachment? Attachment is, so if I have a thought come through and then I feel like I have to name it, or I have to process through whatever it is that the distraction is, instead, or I go, oh, I don't want to think about that right now. So that judgment takes us away from being focused. So by actively saying, if anything comes up during this meditation, I'm going to just acknowledge it and release myself from being attached to what it is that's happening and just bring myself back to the focal point. That is the gift of what the ego is giving you, a distraction. Return to the point of focus. This is what I'm saying over and over. So return to the point of focus. When distracted, gently guide your attention back to the chosen focus point, such as your breath or a mantra, to recenter and refocus. So even if you're doing a guided meditation and you're having difficulty coming back to the visual, come back to your breath. Because as we come back to the breath, that brings us into this moment and not wherever the mind is trying to go. Cultivate detachment. Develop a sense of detachment from distracting thoughts by understanding they're transient and don't define your practice or identity. So transient, they're just going to come and go. They come in and they move out. And so like imagine the waves of the ocean. They come in, they hit the beach and they return. And if the only way that they stay in your awareness is if you grab them and attach yourself to them. So that bringing that non-attachment in is how you're going to be able to just let them come through and move on. Compassionate self-acceptance. Embrace moments of distraction with self-compassion. Understand that distraction is part of the meditation journey. Be kind to yourself and return to the practice without self-criticism. So again, non-judgment, non-attachment, be compassionate. All right, so those are our suggestions for overcoming distractions and the ego. Do we have any thoughts about any of those? So I have a few how to overcome that I'm going to give you. Anchor point. Utilize a consistent anchor point, such as the breath, a mantra, or a focal point to redirect your attention whenever the ego-driven distraction shows up. Labeling thoughts. Mentally label distracting thoughts as thinking or distraction without engaging in their content. This helps create distance and prevents attachment. So labeling thoughts. Refocus with kindness. Gently guide your attention back to your chosen anchor point with kindness and without self-judgment whenever you notice distractions. Body scan technique. So this is a lovely practice that I, as a yoga teacher, this is how my yoga practices always start whenever I lead them, is you're taking a body scan and just relaxing your body, bringing yourself into the present moment. So incorporate a body scan, practicing where you intentionally focus on sensations of the different body parts, redirecting your attention away from the ego-driven thoughts. So you can again, this is another focal point practice. Like, just bring yourself into the present moment. How is my body feeling in the shape that it's in? Relaxing the body, just really bringing yourself into the present moment, which is what meditation is ultimately helping you cultivate. Being mindful of your emotions. Observe emotions that arise during meditation without attaching stories or judgment. Acknowledge them and guide attention back to the present moment. So do we hear the theme here? Come back to the present moment. Come back to the present moment. Come back to the present moment. Over and over again. Set clear intention. This is a really good one. Establishing clear intention before starting your meditation, reaffirming your commitment to remain present and attentive despite distractions. So when we do a yoga nidra practice, we set what is called in yoga a sankalpa. And so sankalpas are intentions. Like, what is the intention for this experience that I'm having of yoga nidra? So having a clear intention allows you to stay focused on why you're showing up. And then the last one here is gratitude and grounding. Practice gratitude or grounding techniques at the start or midpoint of your meditation to center yourself and maintain focus. So again, we're still talking about coming back to the focus, bringing yourself back to the present. And grounding is a bringing yourself into this moment kind of practice. So it's really, really a powerful practice. All right, is there any one of those that really like is calling to you? You're like, I'm going to try that one this week. Yes. I'll ask you to unmute so it's easier.
Thank you. I'm going to try the refocus with kindness.
Wonderful. Love it. Marsha, you got one you want to try?
Actually, the same one, because I was
Okay.
thinking when I threw the pillow at Frankie, I'm thinking, oh, this is just so kind. I'm supposed to be in my Zen, and here I am throwing a pillow like it's, and he's not injured. I'm telling you. He's not injured.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do need to be a little more kind to myself and to others, including
Beautiful.
Frankie.
Yeah. So I would love for you all to drop into our group and share your experience with the technique that you're choosing. I think that would be a lovely way to help us engage and to support each other on that practice. So let's set, yeah, right? Awesome. So let's set some commitments for this week. So for those of you that came in and had a struggle from this past week, what is one commitment that you would like to make for the coming week to help you get more committed to your practice? You don't have to share it if you don't want to, or you can just drop it in the chat, but I want to encourage you to at least write down one commitment that you would like to make to yourself for this week.
Well, I will make a commitment to meditate before 2 p.m.
Okay, beautiful.
I'm going to go downstairs in the basement to do it, because then I have less distractions.
Perfect. Good. Meredith, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think meditating, deep breathing every day. Yes. And then also committing to a yoga practice.
Wonderful.
And biking.
Perfect. Great. Well, I'd love to hear, like I said, in our group, as well as when we get back together next week, see how those commitments worked out for you. So do we have any questions or thoughts before we close our time together today about our experience of our lesson for our talk today? No? Right. Well, just use this as a recommitment to your intention to stay on that daily practice. Yes, Meredith.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, when you have like awareness of the ego, it really, really helps because
Mm,
we're constantly like, I don't know, it was like I didn't even have a name like for my what was happening to me. And then all of a sudden I started realizing like, yeah, I guess like pregnancy and then birth kind of takes your ego like away or just
mm,
like, yeah. And I'm just grateful that now I'm able to like have that power of understanding and just like progressing. It's really powerful stuff, like understanding the ego and
yeah.
the way it could like rule instead of like your higher self.
Mm, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, well, I am going to close our time together. So if we want to sit back, we're going to take a moment to just offer gratitude for the journey that you are taking. Let's just start by bringing ourselves into the present moment, taking a deep breath in and sighing it out. And I'm just going to invite you to settle into your heart space. Just begin by feeling the heartbeat. Just feel your heartbeat. If you need to, bring your hand right over your chest and physically feel behind your hand the heartbeat. And just allow that awareness of that vibration at the center of the chest to rise up into your full awareness. Just connect fully to that heartbeat. And that heart is a part of our heart chakra, Anahata chakra, representing unconditional love. So first, offer yourself gratitude for the accomplishment that you've made in the last week, for continuing to show up for yourself on this journey. Offer gratitude for the community that's traveling and journeying with you through this process. Offer gratitude to your ego for all of the opportunities it's gifting you to reset, recenter, and realign to your intention to have a daily meditation practice. And offer yourself gratitude for showing up and sharing in this journey with this community. It is my honor and my gift to be your guide. Thank you so much for that honor to be of service to you. Now set your intentions for this coming week's practices. Feel those commitments that you've set for yourself, sealing into your heart space. Hold a vision of yourself accomplishing all the commitments that you've set, including the daily practice of meditation. The light in me loves, honors, and cherishes the light within you. When you are in that place in you, and I'm in that place in me, we are truly one. Namaste. I'm just going to stop the recording here.